Deer are an essential part of our ecosystem. But there is a problem. With the extinction of native predators such as wolves and lynx, the number of deer in Britain has been steadily increasing. The red deer and the roe deer are Britain's only native species. The fallow deer was introduced in Norman times and has since become naturalised in the environment. The Reeves munkjack, sika and Chinese water deer all arrived in the 19th and 20th centuries from Asia. And now all these species have little to naturally balance their populations at a sustainable level. Their numbers are now at the highest for 1,000 years, with around 2 million now living in Britain. And this is causing intensive overbrowsing in our woodlands. Many plant species cannot cope with this pressure and are forced out. And as a result, our forests are losing their biodiversity, dominated by the few species that deer don't eat, and turning into monocultures of rhododendron, ivy and brambles, forming a thick understory, preventing light from reaching the forest floor and hobbling new growth. And this has serious impacts for wildlife too. Birds like nightingales have declined by 50% in some areas. And the situation is even more dire in the highlands. Tree roots secure the topsoil and a strong canopy shields the ground from wind and rain. But as the vast herds strip the forests bare, the hillsides erode away, threatening land for both agriculture and wildlife. And the risk of flooding downstream increases as well, as runoff from the hills isn't absorbed by vegetation, and the loss of trees strips nutrients from the soil. And there are agricultural impacts as well. Deer cause an estimated 4.3 million in damages to cereal crops alone each year. So, what is the solution? Currently, around 350,000 deer are culled each year by shooting, with around 100,000 of these being red deer in Scotland. Determining the effectiveness of this nationwide cull is difficult. Some areas have seen success, in others population growth has only been halted, and in others it's continued to rise. In Scotland it seems to be holding red deer numbers in check, for now, and at great expense and labour. This cull has attracted significant opposition by both animal rights activists and some scientists. Ethically, it is argued that killing animals for any reason, including to protect biodiversity, is wrong. And after all, the species most imperiling biodiversity and natural habitats is not deer, but humans. It is also argued that culling might actually increase the fertility of the remaining deer by reducing their competition for resources. Groups involved in deer management, such as the Deer Initiative, National Gamekeepers Association and British Deer Society all support a cull, although they do suggest localised, targeted culls, as opposed to a widespread initiative. A study by the University of East Anglia suggested that only by killing 50 to 60% of roe and munkjack each year could current growth be halted. Contrastingly, the wildlife trusts say any cull must be a last resort and founded on strong science and carried out in a humane